The laugh cut through the bank like a blade, sharp and careless, echoing off marble floors that had never known hunger or sleepless nights. It came right after the single father quietly asked the teller if he could just see his balance, nothing more. For a moment, time seemed to pause, suspended between shame and dignity, until the screen began to load and a truth no one expected waited on the other side. This was the kind of moment that split lives in two, the kind that revealed who we really are when we think no one important is watching. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us our judgments are often wrong, take a second right now to like this video. Leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Stories. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. The man stood at the counter with shoulders slightly hunched, not from weakness but from years of carrying invisible weight. His jacket was clean but worn thin at the elbows, the kind of wear that spoke of long winters and careful thrift. His hands were rough, cracked from work that paid just enough to survive but never enough to rest. He was a single father, though no sign announced it except the quiet exhaustion in his eyes, the kind that came from waking before dawn to pack lunches and staying up late to help with homework after double shifts. The bank was not a place he visited often. It intimidated him with its glass walls and soft lighting, with people who spoke in confident tones about investments and returns, while he calculated groceries and rent down to the last coin. He had come because his daughter's school had sent a notice. There was a fee due for an upcoming program, a small amount by most standards, but enough to tighten his chest. He needed to know exactly what he had, needed certainty before he promised his little girl anything. He did not ask for loans or favors. He only wanted to see his balance, to measure reality against hope. Nearby stood a man whose presence filled the room in a different way. He was dressed in a tailored suit that seemed to fit him as naturally as skin, his watch catching the light with casual arrogance. People recognized him, or at least recognized what he represented. Wealth has a gravity of its own, and it pulled attention toward him without effort. He was used to being admired, deferred to, and obeyed. When he heard the quiet request at the counter, something amused him. Perhaps it was the contrast, perhaps it was boredom, or perhaps it was a habit of measuring himself against others to reassure his own importance. The laugh escaped him easily, without thought, and he did not notice how it landed. The single father felt it, though. He felt the heat rise to his face, the familiar sting of being underestimated. This was not new. Life had taught him humility in harsh lessons. He had learned to swallow pride for the sake of his child, to accept glances and assumptions without protest. Years ago, his life had been different. He had once shared dreams with his wife about opening a small business, about saving for vacations they would take when their daughter was older. Then illness had arrived without mercy, draining savings and strength alike. Hospital rooms replaced family dinners, and promises were broken not by choice, but by fate. When his wife passed, grief hollowed him out, and responsibility rushed in to fill the space. He became both mother and father, anchor and shelter, learning to survive one careful step at a time. Money to him was not a symbol of success or power. It was security. It was medicine and school supplies, heating bills paid on time, and the ability to say yes when his daughter asked if she could join an art class. Every decision was weighed against her smile, every sacrifice measured by her safety. He worked relentlessly, sometimes 3 jobs in a single year, turning down rest because rest did not pay. He taught his daughter that kindness mattered more than wealth. That character was built in how we treated others, especially when no one was watching. She believed him because she saw him live it every day. As the teller typed, the bank hummed softly around them. The single father stared at the screen, his mind drifting despite himself. He remembered nights spent budgeting at the kitchen table after his daughter fell asleep, the numbers blurring as fatigue won. He remembered teaching her how to save coins in a jar labeled dreams, telling her that patience could turn small things into something meaningful. He did not know that his own patience had been quietly doing the same. The screen took longer than expected to load, and the pause stretched. The laughter nearby faded into awkward silence as curiosity replaced amusement. The teller's expression changed subtly, eyebrows lifting, posture straightening. Something unexpected was unfolding, something that did not fit the story everyone thought they were watching. The single father sensed it before he understood it, a shift in the air, a tension that felt almost electric. Years earlier, after his wife's diagnosis, a friend had convinced him to invest a small inheritance he had nearly forgotten. It was not much, barely enough to matter at the time, but the friend had insisted on managing it carefully, spreading it across long-term funds with patience as the guiding principle. In the chaos that followed his wife's illness and passing, the investment faded into the background of his life. He never touched it, never checked it. Survival demanded all his attention, and hope felt like a luxury. He assumed it had grown a little, maybe enough to help with college someday if he was lucky. He did not know what time and quiet consistency had done in his absence. When the numbers finally appeared, they told a story no one in the bank was prepared for. The balance was not just comfortable, it was staggering. Years of steady growth, reinvestment, and market shifts had transformed that forgotten seed into something enormous. Enough to change lives, enough to rewrite futures, enough to silence laughter born of ignorance. The millionaire nearby saw the teller's reaction and leaned closer, his confidence wavering for the first time. The room seemed to narrow, all attention drawn to that glowing screen. The single father felt his breath catch as he processed what he was seeing. His first thought was not of luxury or revenge or triumph. It was of his daughter, of her future suddenly opening wide, of opportunities he had never dared imagine. Tears blurred his vision, and he blinked them back, overwhelmed not by pride but by relief. In that moment, the laughter from earlier became something else entirely. It transformed into a lesson, hanging heavy in the air. The millionaire shifted uncomfortably, faced with the mirror of his own assumption. Wealth had taught him many things, but humility was not one of them. He had measured a man by his clothes and posture and decided the rest. Now reality stood quietly correcting him. The single father did not savor the reversal. He did not seek eye contact or acknowledgement. His victory was internal, sacred. He thanked the teller softly and asked for a printout, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. As he turned away, he carried himself differently, not taller or louder, but anchored by a calm certainty. He did not need to prove anything to anyone in that room. Outside, the city moved as it always had, unaware that a small miracle had just occurred behind glass doors. The single father sat on a bench and let the reality settle. He thought about the years he had spent believing he was barely holding on, when in truth, something beautiful had been growing quietly in the background. It felt like a metaphor for his own life, for the way love and effort often went unseen until the moment they mattered most. He did not rush to change everything overnight. His first purchase was not a car or a house. It was time. He reduced his hours, choosing to be home when his daughter returned from school. He enrolled her in the art class she had been afraid to ask for again. He paid off debts that had haunted his sleep. He set up scholarships in his wife's name at the local hospital, honoring the place where kindness had eased their darkest days. He helped quietly, deliberately, remembering what it felt like to stand on the other side of judgment. The millionaire, for his part, left the bank altered in ways he did not immediately understand. The image of the single father lingered, unsettling his assumptions. For the first time in a long while, he questioned the ease with which he laughed, the way he categorized people. The moment became a crack in his certainty, a chance for growth he had not expected. Years later, the story would still ripple outward in small ways. The daughter would grow up knowing not just that her father had provided, but that he had done so with grace. She would learn that dignity did not depend on what others thought, and that true wealth was often invisible until revealed by time. The scholarships would touch lives the single father would never meet, each one a quiet extension of compassion. If this story has reached something deep inside you, if it reminded you not to judge, to believe in patience and hidden blessings, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps these messages travel further than we ever could alone. And before the final moment fades, leave a comment sharing what part of the story stayed with you the most. Your words matter more than you know. The single father, never forgot the sound of that laughter. Not because it hurt, but because of what followed. It became a reminder that screens take time to load, that lives take time to reveal themselves, and that kindness costs nothing, while judgment can cost us everything. If this story touched your heart, engage with it now and